This is Demand Explained. In this video, we'll break down the key concepts of demand in economics and why demand behaves the way it does. Let's start with the law of demand. This law states that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. For example, when the price of movie tickets decreases, more people go to the cinema. Now let's look at a demand schedule. This example table shows that as the price increases for movie tickets, the quantity demanded decreases. Using the demand schedule, we can draw a demand curve. This curve shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded on a graph. Price is usually on the vertical axis, and quantity is on the horizontal axis. As you can see, the demand curve slopes downward from left to right, highlighting the law of demand. Now, there are three reasons why the demand curve is downward sloping. They are the substitution effect, income effect, and the law of diminishing marginal utility. The substitution effect happens when consumers opt for cheaper substitute goods. For example, if the price of apples drops while the price of bananas stays the same, people may buy more apples. Next is the income effect. When the price of a good falls, it feels like your income has more buying power. You're able to afford more with the same amount of money. For example, if the price of movie tickets falls, you might buy extra tickets for friends or family. Finally, the law of diminishing marginal utility. This law says that the more of a good you consume, the less additional satisfaction or utility you get from each extra unit. For instance, the first slice of pizza might be amazing, but by the fourth or fifth slice, the extra enjoyment starts to wear off. As a result, consumers are only willing to buy more if the price keeps dropping to match that lower level of satisfaction. With all of these three reasons, it becomes clear as to why the demand curve slopes downwards, as lower prices trigger all three effects. It's important to know that a change in price moves along the demand curve, but if anything other than the prices changes, the demand curve is shifted. For example, due to the rise of online streaming platforms, people choose to stay at home and watch movies instead of going to the cinema. As a result, the demand curve shifts to the left, a decrease in demand. On the other hand, a shift to the right would be an increase in demand. Now that we understand how price affects quantity demanded, let's look at the 5 main shifters of demand. The first shifter is tastes and preferences. When something becomes more popular, whether it's due to trends, advertising, or public opinion, demand increases. If something falls out of favor, demand decreases. For example, if a new blockbuster makes going to the cinema seem exciting again, more people will want to go, increasing demand. Next, number of consumers. If the number of potential buyers in a market increases, demand will increase. Fewer consumers, on the other hand, means lower demand. This is often influenced by population growth, seasonal trends, or demographic shifts. Here's a quick visual example. When only a few people want to go to the cinema, demand is low. But if lots of people start going, maybe because of a highly anticipated film or a holiday season, demand increases, shifting the demand curve to the right. The third shifter is the price of related goods. This refers to how changes in the price of one product affect the demand for another. These related goods can either be substitutes or complements, and both affect demand in different ways. Let's start with substitute goods. These are products that can replace each other. If the price of going to the theater increases, people might switch to the cinema instead. So, a rise in the price of theater tickets could lead to an increase in demand for cinema tickets. Now, complements are goods that are used together. Think of cinema tickets and popcorn. If the price of cinema tickets goes down, more people go to the movies, and they're also more likely to buy popcorn. The fourth shifter is income. When people's income increases, they can afford to buy more, especially of normal goods like movie outings, smartphones, or restaurant meals. But for inferior goods, like instant noodles or bus rides, demand may actually decrease as income rises. So income affects demand depending on the type of good. And the fifth shifter is expectations of future prices. For example, if people expect the price of groceries to increase in the future, they may stockpile as soon as possible, increasing current demand. But if they think the price will decrease, they may hold off on purchasing, decreasing demand. Here's an important distinction. A change in quantity demanded is a movement along the demand curve, i.e. A to B, but a change in demand is a shift of the entire curve, caused by one of the five shifters we just covered, i.e. A to C. It's crucial not to mix the two. A price drop doesn't shift the curve, it just changes where you are on the curve.